Afternoon and welcome to our final webinar this week. Apologies for the audio yesterday and the obvious slight technical hitch this afternoon as well. Hope everybody's keeping well. Over the last 2 days, we've covered a couple of subjects. First day, we were talking about utilising your current infrastructure and allow remote workers access. Yesterday, we looked at ensuring that your staff felt engaged while being at home and not isolated during these scary and uncertain times, and being able to work collaboratively, especially around the use of Teams. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about security, and we're going to be talking about ensuring that your corporate data is secure while people are working away from the main office. So with more and more staff working remotely, we need to ensure that the corporate data is more secure than ever. We'll talk about protecting users, devices and data, and then we'll go over a demo of Microsoft's new virtual desktop, which will bring your own device, it'll simplify that process and has a lot of benefits. Q&A panel is available on the right hand side to ask any questions, and my colleagues are online to hopefully try and answer some of those. If not, I'll pick them up at the end, and we'll come back to you if we've got anything. We are recording all of these as well, and the plan is tomorrow we're going to edit them all up and we're going to send them out to everybody, so you've got all 3 days worth if you did miss any, or if you want to just recap anything. So Microsoft have provided some stats using their advanced threat protection product. They reckon that in the last 12 months they've analysed 470 billion emails. And that is a big number, but then quite scarily as well, they've detected 5 billion threats a month on Windows desktop devices. They've scanned 18 billion websites just through their Bing search engine alone, and some 630 billion Microsoft accounts are authenticated each month. So there's some scarily big numbers out there in terms of number of emails, threats, and how many people are using systems out there. So what you should be considering to ensure your data and devices are secure. So the first one is user authentication. We need to make sure that credentials aren't compromised, because that's an easy way for cyber criminals to get into organizations. Microsoft's new recommendations have changed. Traditionally, it was change your password every 30 days to ensure that it's not compromised. Now they're suggesting that we set them not to expire, but that we make them extremely complex, but pair that with a multi-factor authentication as well, to add that extra layer of security and making sure that things aren't compromised. If the password's complex as opposed to just password 1 and password 2 the next month, makes it much harder for criminals to get in. There's a lot of devices that are still running Windows 7. Security updates for this finished on the 14th of January this year. Means that any vulnerabilities that won't be patched by Microsoft and does leave them exposed. You should be upgrading to Windows 10 as quickly as you can. Obviously, with this current crisis, it might be a bit difficult, but it is possible to do that remotely as well. And then you should be regularly testing the Microsoft fixes as they're released, and making sure they're pushed out to your devices to make sure that they're secure. Don't forget about third-party applications though as well. The likes of Adobe, Java, etc. are just as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable, than the Microsoft applications, and are a way in for criminals. If machines are being used away from the normal office environment, which they will be over the sort of weeks and months to come. We're seeing people purchasing a lot of laptops. We're having to send people home with desktops and things. So these still need patching. Traditional patching methods such as WSUS or any kind of on-premise patching either won't work across the VPNs or would take up valuable bandwidth. So it's worth looking at sort of optional cloud-based patch management through Microsoft's Intune or sort of other managed service solutions as well, which obviously would do Microsoft products, but also third parties. It goes without saying that we should have all the endpoints should be running some malware protection. to protect us, but cyber criminals are getting extremely clever. They're getting smarter and smarter each day in the way that they take advantage of people's fears. We've seen some advice from mail protection companies that there's a lot of COVID-19 viruses out there, HMRC ones as well. So it's really just ensuring that your end users are being sensible and not clicking on links that they shouldn't be doing, but that your malware protection utilizes sort of the latest artificial intelligence scanning and help protect environments better by using these products. Within Microsoft 365, we can further protect your organization's emails and documents by using classification and labeling, which applies policies and rules based on the type of information to ensure that data doesn't go anywhere that it shouldn't do. So this means that users can't send on emails that are marked confidential to people outside of the organization, or even download attachments that they shouldn't be able to, or move documents around systems if they are tagged and marked in that way. So that's definitely something worth looking into to protect organizations' data and security. So a lot of people are using sort of corporate devices out there in this troubling times that we're going through at the moment, but there a lot would maybe need to use their own device to ensure that data never leaves your organization. It's worth looking at Microsoft's new virtual desktop, which we'll do a demo in a second. It's their multi-user Windows 10 environment. So instead of the traditional Citrix or remote desktop solutions that we've used before for people working from home and remotely, it gives a user-friendly Windows 10 platform that users are used to, and easy administration in Microsoft's secure Azure infrastructure. Just on a side note, Microsoft currently have over 3,000 security experts on staff worldwide, and their annual security bill is $2 billion a year. So they are taking it pretty serious. I know that we couldn't spend that kind of money here looking after security, or I don't think any organization could, unless you're in Microsoft pockets. So they do take it very serious. So we'll just come out of the presentation and go to... So the good thing with Windows Virtual Desktop is that it will run either in a dedicated client, or it can run within a web browser as well. So this is just Microsoft's new Edge client, and we're going to use our test account here. Okay, so what we're also going to demonstrate is the two-factor authentication. So I'm going to sign in as well. Okay, so now the system's asking us for extra authentication on the Microsoft Authenticator app. So I don't know if you can see that there, but we've got a message on screen to authenticate. So I'm just going to tap that. Go to approve. It'll pass the authentication through and it will log us into the system. So that just means that if somebody compromised this account by getting the password, because we made it too simple, for example, they would need the device to also log in as well, just making sure that everything's secure. We'll launch the desktop. This time it won't ask for the second authentication because it's already cached that within the session before we've launched the application. And there we go, we've got a full Windows 10 desktop in a web browser, and that can be any HTML5 browser. There's no plugins needed, there's nothing additional needed, so you could be on any device you wanted. We've got full access to Office suite applications. We've even got Teams launching in the background there. We can do full video streaming, and this can be scaled to any kind of size of organization, so from one-man band up to hundreds and thousands of users quite easily. There's our MD Johnny drawing on the board on our website, so you can see that the video streams quite well even in this sharing environment, and these can all be linked back to your on-premise infrastructure as well. So if you've got on-premise file servers, we can help link that back into the system. But just a nice, clean, easy way of letting users work from anywhere in a secure environment, making sure that your data is never leaving the organization if it doesn't need to. Okay, and again, it's a Windows 10 feel, so it looks like they're using their PC in the office. But again, we can see this is just within a web browser. So that's it for today. We'll have a quick look at the questions, see if anybody's asked any. But thank you very much for your time.